So I got you guys on the first story. I think first two stories put together because way,
Yeah.
ladies, come closer. We need to talk. We need to have a conversation
Okay.
because I don't know what is happening. And I know things are tough. I know things
Yeah.
are tough when you're doing whatever it takes to make an extra coin. But at what point do we draw the line? At what point do we say, okay, Stawa, enough is enough? The reason I am asking this question is because on TikTok, there is a gentleman by the name. First of all, I had to Google this title and learn how to say it. So this guy is an akusha. He is a male midwife. That means
Okay.
anasaidia kuzalisha. Yaitwa Mackenzie ule mmoja on TikTok. So he went
Yeah.
on TikTok and we'd had stories of, their houses. Over the years, we've had stories where we have girls living in apartments, they're doing videos, only fans, live entertainment to their guests, if you know what I mean. Now, so Mackenzie Ulemoja brings to light this conversation. Now, he got a call from a guy who he says had a Nigerian accent. And this guy says, yo, it's how we have a pregnant lady that we need taken care of. Anamimba tunakuhitaji. And then he says, instead of me coming, how about we bring her to hospital? Niko tu hapa town, simumlete. They said, no, you come. So, we'll give you 10,000 for fuel in this economy. 10,000 kutoka town kwenda Kileleshwa. So he said, okay. And then he grabbed two of his friends and they went. And this Nigerian accented guy says, let's meet at a petrol station where you will leave your car and I will ferry you to where the lady is. And that is what happened. Mackenzie and two guys get into this Range Rover and they go to an estate called 25 in Kileleshwa. And when they get there, the situation is a bit different because it's not the pregnancy for 35 weeks closer. Wanafkanga 42. I mean, how many weeks?
42, guys. 42.
42.
Yes, as a resident mother on here, I can confirm. Humans.
So it wasn't something.
40 to 42 weeks. Yes.
It wasn't something that obvious. But when he got there, he says this chick was vomiting blood and all of that, and it felt like it was a hotel. So this house looks like a hotel. There are many women in there. There are rooms in there, and then he was told there are things that happen here that probably have caused this particular lady to behave in this way or to be sick in this way. And Mackenzie continues to investigate and find out what is it that you do here. And that is how he found out that they perform. The ladies there perform to their clients. And these clients have extreme sexual fetishes that they perform to. And some of these things is to the extreme of eating poop. So some will enjoy to see someone defecate, and they will continue to be like, if you eat, then you get 4,000 bob per hour. There's urine involved. There's crazy things that are involved that women are doing and are being paid per hour to do these things. And when he saw the situation, he said, let's just take this babe to hospital. They can be treated here. And when he persisted, they refused and kicked the doctor out. So the lady was left there, still in a situation that wasn't very good. And that is what is happening in our streets. That is what is happening here. That women are doing the most to get the money to the point of your life. It doesn't matter what you have to do as long as you bag the bag. What is it called?
Bank the bag.
Yeah, it is so hard to even talk about this. Imagine that it is happening here and now in our estates to our girl. And there are people who are involved in this that do not actually care about your life.
right?
Yeah.
I say number one, poverty is the enemy.
Yeah.
Let's just put that out there. But then also, I think genuinely, because this story I think first came out on X, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think ever since the whole Baltazar debacle, it's just been one story after another about how perverted people actually are. And a lot of the times when you talk about sex and you talk about sexual perversion, men usually take the brunt of it. Most guys think that, oh, it's the guys only. But I kind of feel like right now, women are on the same bandwagon. And
Yeah.
it's just sad to think that someone can actually believe that eating poop, eating a man's feces, that's the best way for them to make a living for themselves. I think it's just sad. It's just tragic. And poverty is the enemy. And I feel like even that story coming to light, it's just a way to tell young women, young girls out there, if that's the path you've chosen, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. There's a
When?
reason poop comes out, of where it comes out. It's not supposed to go in through here. Even animals know that.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things for me. I'm just like, nilisikia story nilichoka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's so
But poverty
interesting.
is the enemy.
Yeah. Interesting because I've heard of similar stories from women who go to, is it UAE, to work, and some of the things they have to do. I think I've seen some documentaries on YouTube talking about that and people sharing their stories. And I'm like, I do understand, yes, poverty is the enemy, and that is so true. But then again, I won't talk about poverty because you've already done so, Mr. Mima. So I'll just touch on contentment. Because you see, sometimes you might find it very interesting. It's not that there's the lack of basic needs. Like literally, you have what can sustain you, but you desire to have this particular lifestyle. So you go the extra mile to bank extra money so that you can have this lifestyle. And a lot of times when you even hear like the stories of, it's the young women and all of that, the pressure on social media. So these women on ground trying to fit and, to be in the same level as some of their so-called role models and, favorite celebrities, influencers, the women they look up to. So sometimes the lack of contentment, being in a season where you don't have much, but you have enough to live a decent life as you're working towards getting a better life. You get what I'm saying? I don't know whether that makes sense. Because I feel like, yes, poverty is the problem, but also learning to be content is very important. Because otherwise, if you want everything that you see online that other women have, what you're going to do is you're going to look for men who are going to give you fast money so that you can also post online. So you get yourself into things you shouldn't even be in because you want to post online and show your mates and your friends. So aside from poverty, I think sometimes the lack of contentment could be also another issue. Or you want to live in those posh estates, posh places. Kama bei yako ifiki rent ya huko mtu wangu, tafuta area yenye unaweza ishi. Bora ni nyumba yako, be proud of it no matter how small, no matter what rent you're paying, but usikakwe na pressure ya kucompete na watu unaona social media, because you never know what these women are doing. Even those celebrities and influencers, you don't know. So yeah, this peer pressure for you want to match up with what you're seeing online. People should show you the backs. Initangwaje nyuma ya tent. Unaweza
Yes.
toroka useme wacha ikae, wacha nikae venye niko. There has to be wisdom in how ladies are looking at this thing.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I totally agree with that because I don't know if there's any more comments on this because I want to join this to the next story. Can we move on to the next one?
I think for me,
yeah. Sorry, Tamima, go.
Yeah, I think even as you're saying poverty is the enemy, you do make a valid point on that. But
Yeah.
I also feel like we as a society really need to look in the mirror because the reality is this. We don't celebrate honest hard work. I'm sorry to say it. But we are now in a society where what is celebrated is, for lack of a better word, is obscenity, loudness, vulgarness, and just the idea of opulence. That as long as you fit into any one of those categories, opulence, loud, vulgar, obscene, what people like to call maybe you're someone who is, you're not really fitting into the cultural norm. So that's what
Yeah.
society right now is celebrating. And I kind of feel like it's just sad. It's really just sad that if there's any man or woman who, as you say, just because of what you're seeing, so you want to fit into that box. Because at the end of the day, when you bear the repercussions, because every action has a
Repercussion.
Repercussion.
consequence behind it.
Yeah.
And is it really worth it? Because even the amount of money he was talking about, 4,000.
I know.
I was like, yo, I thought you're bagging, like, maybe, okay, we're not trying to say, oh, if you can meet and you're there, I'm like, if you can,
Yeah, we're not.
okay, but we're just saying, like, okay, honestly, it's not even worth you having to puke blood because I don't know what has happened to you. Like, it does not make any sense. But then again, I'll say this, as much as we're talking about women, I have to throw this back to the men. Because you see, men are not playing their part. Men, they're not being who they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be protectors. Yet and then I think what angers me, by the way, you can even find these men who are doing these things. Their fathers, they've
Yeah.
had daughters and they
Mm.
have wives and they have sisters and mothers, but the lack of hata sijui nitaita nini. Hii ndo kitu inanikasirishanga, because I'm like, as much as you're saying, oh, women wouldn't be doing this if men are not part of it. That will not
Yeah.
be happening. So it doesn't make any sense that a man will be there. Okay, it makes sense according to them. But at the end of the day, I feel like we also have to point fingers to the men. Because at the end of the day, unless these men get to a place of saying, this could be my daughter someday. Yes, maybe now they have that money, dish out to this young girl who's naive and desperate, sawa sawa. But someday, pesa uishanga, venye inakujanga inaweza kuisha. Assuming this was my daughter having to stoop to this level, someone desiccating kwa mdomo yake. The other one, so it was they're sleeping with animals. You're sleeping with someone's dog. The other one, they're peeing on you, and I'm like, seriously, unless men start thinking of this thing from a place of, if this was my daughter, assuming things went wrong, and my daughter had to stoop to this level to provide for herself, how would I feel about it? Otherwise, they'll never.
Okay.
There's no humanity in them, and
Absolutely.
That's true. Men,
yeah,
men have abdicated, so women are in very, very vulnerable positions. But at
oh
the
yeah,
same time, there are also those women who do it, as you say, because they are chasing a lifestyle.
Yeah.
But as you say, poverty is the enemy, and at the end of the day, you have to decide where in nani, because prostitution is the oldest trade in the world.
Trade.
As
Yeah.
long as men and women have existed, there will always be a man who wants to exploit you.
oh yes,
And there'll always be someone who will meet the price. You understand? If you feel
Yeah.
like, oh, me, I'm doing it for 500,000, me, I'm doing it for a
yeah.
million, there'll always be someone who's willing to pay that. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you're the one who knows the scars that you have to live with. Because not all money is good money. That is a fact.
Oh yeah.
There's a guy on a forex trader on TikTok, goes by the name Kenyan Prince, and he is a self-proclaimed Kenya's youngest sponsor. So he goes on to TikTok, he shows off his phones, his money, his opulence, his wealth, and all of that, and the girlfriend as well. Okay, enters girlfriend stage left. So girlfriend is called Stephanie. And in a video where we had a comedian called Tumbili who was going to do an interview with Kenyan Prince, as this whole time, this is recorded. There are cameras on your face. And Kenyan Prince turned. The girlfriend is supposedly getting out of the house. And Kenyan Prince turns and says, I'll say this in English because I've been practicing how to say it, how he said it. Inakataa, kutu kanisaidia. But alipenduka akasema, you vagina, come here. That is exactly what he said.
Kinembe, come tell me bye.
Mbona mwita Kinembe?
Si ni Kinembe yangu.
And did she like follow the instruction?
Oh, so when he says that, Tumbili asks, why are you calling her that? And Kenyan Prince says, but she's my vagina. Isn't she mine? Girl walks back, okay? And hugs, kisses boyfriend, and then exits.
Hey,
Habari ndio
you
hiyo
know,
basi.
I'm like,
Oh,
I can't.
I'm like,
Wow.
And
Young
so let me
lady.
just let me just add. Let me add on to something.
present.
Unajua, the next post, so there's a post he did. I went down this rabbit hole, and there's a post he posted next on his TikTok with a girl. It's a picture, and then the caption is ati mlisema nisimuite nini? Like,
Is she with him
yeah,
in that next post?
yeah.
And she's happy.
And then the next post says nampenda. You should hear the song uko nyuma ile inaimba kwa hiyo picha ya mapenzi.
Where? Hata sijui nitaplace umsee kona gani, but I'll say this. As in their names, if you have to call someone, call them when it's just the two of you. But the moment it peters the boundaries of the two of you, someone else is included and camera is included, then it becomes disrespect. It is not a name that it doesn't even carry any humor. This lady, nilikuwa niseme kagao, but this lady, she's so okay being in front of cameras. Like, of everything she could be called a queen, she could be called a princess, she could be called beautiful. By the way, if you're a man here, I'm giving you the names to call your women, don't call them
Imagine,
men.
just call me my name. Call me Mwikali.
I am. You
Yeah.
get above all the names ziko kwa hii dunia yote, uliona tu muite Kinesh, and then you as a woman, you respond and you come because you are that part. Like, let me tell you, unajua saa ingine mtu anaweza kuita according to what they see you as. You are nothing but a Kinesh, Kinembe. Wewe tu Kinembe, that's why anakuita Kinembe, because there's no other value yenye uko nayo kwa life ya huyo msee.
Let's rewind. Ati that word. You say that what? Ki what?
Inaitwa Kinembe. I think
What does that mean?
my youngings.
What does that mean? I'm lost.
Vagina.
Oh.
Translate ya Mwikali from vagina to
Vagina.
Okay,
Vajayjay.
Is that like a Swahili word out of the Kamusi? Ama that's street slang?
Kinembe.
I'm not so sure. I don't think it is used.
Is it ya kamusi ama ni ya street? Mi nilikuwa na assume ni ya ma youngings, my youth.
Wanaweza kutuambia kwa comment section, because but you know what? I blame her, because at the end of the day, he is who he is. I blame her. She is accepting of that behavior. She has shown him that is how she will be talked to. That is how, that's the standard that she has set. And because that's the standard that she has set, unajua wanasemaga tu, us social media aunties, tutakuwa tu hapa, we'll be here for you, baby girl. Like, in another year or so, just in case it doesn't work out, and this is not judgment, it's just part of life. And hopefully you'll remember this season and you'll be like, wase walijaribu kuniambia lakini mimi nilikuwa naona na trend, because what is that? And I think even onto that, aside from him, I also want to call this out. If you've been on X, Elon Musk's X, and I think as a Kenyan woman, increasingly when I'm on there and I look at the tone that men used to talk about women, so I'm not surprised that this young man is using that term to refer to his girlfriend, because I feel increasingly right now in our culture and in very public spaces like social medias, where you can actually see someone's account, unaona jina yake, unaona all his details, how men talk about women in Kenya. For me, I'm like, someone has to call it out. We can do better. We can genuinely do better, because on one hand, they call women out for being loose, for being promiscuous, for being this, like a lot of other things. But then on the other hand, there's the over-sexualization of women.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter which woman. There'll always be that one guy who will come out of nowhere with that comment. And I see it more and more. And the thing is, it's very problematic that even sometimes women themselves participate.
Oh, yes.
Yes, they participate in that negative culture that has taken hold. And I'm sorry to say, even listen to our music. Listen to any banger that is on the radio, in the clubs. Like, how does it position women in Kenya?
The degradation. What?
Exactly.
Okay,
So
it was part of it. But anywho,
that's one guy doing it, but this is a larger conversation within culture.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sorry to say, we are looking at our South African counterparts, we are looking at our Nigerian counterparts. they're thriving on the global stage, because if you look at the music and the content behind their music, it's actually something that anyone can bob to, irrespective of the culture that they're from. But I unfortunately can't say the same of some of the things I've had on radio being promoted
Yeah.
as, you know, beat of the week or song of the week, because you listen to it as a woman and you're like, what?
What?
I'm
Yeah.
the same woman. Remember, other women are listening to it and they're like, "This is it. You know, it's the best
I
we
mean,
can do." Yeah.
why are you as a woman even dancing to that? So
Mm.
that little girl, that young lady who was called that word, the key whatever, and she was okay with it. I feel sorry for her, but at the same time,
Yeah.
if I look at where we are as a culture, I'm not surprised. I'm really not
Mm.
surprised.
Just
It's not
imagining if my mom bumped into a video of me being called that and it's huku kwa dunia, yani alinizaa tu alafu hiyo ndio jina ninaitwa na ninaitika na alinipatia jina mzuri mwikali, like you don't even spruce up anything, just Mere,
but
I
I
will
think
say yes.
it takes us back to the conversation for money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How low will you stoop just to be with someone who has something, who can give you the lifestyle that you want, regardless of how they disrespect you? And you say this is disrespect. It's been masked and covered. Come and love. So pia unakuwa confused because now you're not even aware whether akikuita hivyo, you in your head you're like, this guy loves me.
Yeah.
Unasahau, in all honesty, ukijikalisha chini ujiangalie hivi, wewe unakaa kinembe. Yani kwa ungeitwa, yes, we have it, but is that
Si hata niite nice lips.
like, I know
It's
sexy
like
lips,
sexy eyes. Ni
sexy
nini
eyes.
lakini?
But also
As in,
again, guys, Kush, I like the point you've raised, because the reality is that also you as a woman, how do you present yourself? Do you present yourself as that is the only thing you can offer?
Mm.
Because if that is how you present yourself, you will be addressed accordingly.
oh
That's
yeah,
true.
oh yes. What you
I mean,
allow
you're
that
responding to it. You're responding to it. You know, it's one thing when you call me that and be like, that's not me. Because if you
yeah.
call me Susan, I'll say, no, I'm not Susan. When you call me Faith, I'm not Faith. I will not respond to that. So, but if I'm responding to this name, then that means I am okay with it.
Yes.
All I'm gonna say to that young lady, listen, young lady, and I hope this gets to you. Yeah. And I'm
I
saying this with all the love in the world. You say that guy does what? He's known for
Forex trading.
forex trading. Okay, okay. Sasa sasa wewe ndio hiyo whatever yake saa hizi, si ndio? Lakini
Yeah.
madam, jiko pale, jifunze hiyo biashara, kwa sababu madam, hautakuwa pale forever. That I can assure you. But at least utasemaga nilitoka pale, nilijifunza kufanya hiyo forex trading, and just maybe you might be the next millionaire on these streets. So it will not all be for nothing, but usiwe pale unatumika tu. Pia wewe tumia
Yeah.
akili, funze kitu.